Look at your hands. Right now, you believe, with absolute, unshakable certainty, that you are a rational entity, an architect of logic, a sovereign mind steering through a chaotic universe. You are wrong. You are completely, spectacularly wrong. Every single day, you commit a crime against reality. You hold a core value in your left hand, and you execute a contradictory action with your right. You know the smoke fills your lungs with toxic tar, yet you light the fuse. You swear under oath that you are an honest human being, yet the lie slips past your teeth before you even register the taste of it. What happens inside your skull in that exact microsecond? A silent, violent, neurochemical rupture. Two opposing waves of electricity collide in your anterior cingulate cortex. Your brain doesn't see a harmless hypocritical slip. It detects an emergency, a biological threat to the illusion you call yourself. In the 1950s, a visionary psychologist named Leon Festinger exposed the hidden parasitic script running beneath our conscious awareness. He named it cognitive dissonance, and it is the most terrifying structural defense mechanism you possess. Let's take a quick decompression break before we overload your synapses. For your nervous system, clicking the subscribe button and leaving a like down below requires zero effort. It's pure motor routine, a negligible amount of glucose consumed. For this channel's algorithm, however, it's the critical neurochemical signal that tells us we're on the right track. So do it, and drop a comment below to give me your perspective. Take these 2 seconds to relax, because right now, we are diving deep. Understand this fundamental truth. Your brain is not an objective search engine looking for reality. It is a survival machine, obsessed with order. When a conviction and a cold, brutal fact clash inside your mind, an unbearable friction erupts, a toxic mental static that threatens your internal sanctuary. Logic dictates a simple resolution. Change your behavior. Stop smoking. Admit the lie. Face the uncomfortable, humbling truth that you were wrong. But your brain hates that path. Changing a real-world behavior requires massive energy, discipline, and above all, the painful execution of your ego. So your mind takes the coward's shortcut, the cheap route. It doesn't rewrite the action. It rewrites the thought. It deploys a sophisticated, automatic mechanism called rationalization. It doesn't seek the truth. It seeks quietness. It craves peace at the complete expense of reality. Take the smoker. He looks at the medical report, sees the blackened lungs, and feels the spike of cortisol in his blood. Instead of quitting, his brain constructs a mental fortress. My grandfather smoked 2 packs a day and lived to 90. Stress kills faster than nicotine. The damage is already done. Might as well enjoy the ride. These aren't rational arguments. They are neurochemical survival blankets. To prove this terrifying mental glitch, Leon Festinger and Merrill Carlsmith built a trap in 1959. They took a group of young, unsuspecting college students and subjected them to pure, unadulterated, excruciating boredom. For 60 agonizing minutes, the subjects sat alone in a cold room. Their task? Turning wooden pegs on a board, a quarter turn, over and over and over again. It was designed to be useless, brain-numbing, utterly devoid of meaning. But the experiment didn't end when the clock ran out. As the students prepared to leave, the researcher approached them with a rehearsed, calculated desperation. He claimed the usual assistant hadn't shown up and offered them a deal. Lie for us. Tell the next participant in the waiting room that the task was thrilling, exciting, unforgettable. Here is where the trap snapped shut. Festinger split the participants into two distinct categories. Group A was paid $20 to tell the lie. In 1959, $20 was real money, enough to buy a solid suit or a week's worth of groceries. Group B was paid $1 single, a pathetic, insulting pittance. Both groups took the cash. Both groups walked out and lied to the next person's face. Later, an independent evaluator interviewed both groups privately, asking for their real, honest opinion of the peg-turning task. The results shattered classical economics. The students who received $20 confessed the truth. They admitted the task was agonizingly boring. Why? Because $20 was a massive external justification. I lied, but I got rich doing it. No conflict, no damage to my identity. But the $1 group sent shockwaves through the scientific community. When asked about the task, they didn't call it boring. They swore, with terrifying sincerity, that turning those wooden pegs was actually interesting, engaging, almost therapeutic. They didn't just lie to the evaluator. They had successfully brainwashed themselves. Think about the neurochemical trap. $1 was zero justification. You can't tell yourself, I sold my integrity for a single buck. That realization tears a hole through your self-esteem. So the brain, trapped in a corner, fires a neurochemical emergency override. It alters the memory of the experience. If I said it was fun for $1, then it must have been fun. This is where the cold chemical reality unveils itself. The moment the brain resolves the conflict through rationalization, the mesolimbic pathway floods your synapses with dopamine. You are literally rewarded with a neurochemical high, not for discovering objective truth, but for successfully executing an internal lie. Self-deception is an addictive, self-medicating loop. Festinger proved that when external rewards fail to justify our actions, our internal reality mutates to cover the deficit. You don't change your mind because you learned something new. You change your mind to protect your precious, fragile ego. And as we leave the laboratory and step into your daily life, the implications become terrifyingly personal. Let's leave the sterile air of 1959 and step into the messy, violent reality of your daily life. Watch what happens the second you make a major commitment. You buy a car. You choose a career path. You anchor your soul to a romantic partner. Before the signature is even dry, an invisible light switch flips inside your brain. Before the decision, your mind operates as an evaluator, weighing pros and cons, scanning for flaws. But the moment the deal is sealed, evaluation dies and defense begins. You stop reading neutral reviews. You actively search for positive feedback that validates your choice. You ignore the subtle red flags waving right in front of your face. This isn't optimism. It is a desperate, bloody defensive war. Because admitting you made a mistake means igniting a catastrophic internal conflict. I believe I am an intelligent, competent human being collides head-on with, I just spent my hard-earned money and time on an absolute disaster. Your brain cannot handle that paradox. Psychologists call this post-decision dissonance, and it is the exact reason why arguing with someone about their past choices is utterly pointless. You think you are debating their logic, but you are actually attacking their fundamental need to feel consistent with themselves. You aren't fighting an argument. You are fighting their survival instinct. Before he built the wooden peg experiment in 1959, Festinger descended into something far darker. In the mid-1950s, he infiltrated an apocalyptic cult, a group of zealots convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt that the world was going to end on a specific, precise date. They quit their jobs, abandoned their homes, cut ties with their families. They had invested their entire identity into a single belief. Midnight arrived. The clock struck 12. The skies did not split open. Zero apocalyptic floods. Absolute, deafening silence. Logic tells you what should happen next. Total collapse. Humiliation. Cult members crying, admitting they were conned. But that's not how the human brain survives a catastrophic failure. At 4:45 a.m., the leader delivered a new prophecy. God saved the world because of our powerful faith. They didn't abandon the cult. They went on the offensive. They took to the streets, aggressively proselytizing, screaming their faith louder than ever before. Why? Because admitting the prophecy failed meant acknowledging their entire life was a delusion. When a belief is fused with your core identity, facts are no longer facts. They are hostile missiles aimed at your soul. The more overwhelming the evidence against you, the deeper you dig the trench. You are not defending the truth. You are defending the preservation of your avatar. Look at the digital gladiatorial arena of the modern web. Watch what happens when someone is confronted with an undeniable fact, a peer-reviewed study, an indisputable metric. Do they update their internal software? Do they say, "Thank you, I was mistaken"? Hell no. They double down. They attack the messenger, fabricate a straw man, and burn the digital house down. Carl Jung warned us about this decades ago. When your rationalizations crumble, you are forced to stare directly into the shadow, the dark, unintegrated abyss of your own fallibility. To admit you were wrong is to admit that your ego, your precious persona, is a fragile, flawed mask. And the human brain will perform atrocious acts of mental acrobatics just to keep that mask glued to its face. You are not stupid. Never confuse cognitive dissonance with low intelligence. In fact, the higher your IQ, the better your brain is at constructing elaborate, sophisticated bullshit to justify its errors. High intelligence doesn't make you immune to self-deception. It just makes your lies infinitely more convincing. You aren't using logic as a compass. You are using it as an armorer. So how do you break the cycle? How do you dismantle a neurochemical reflex that has been hardwired into your nervous system for millions of years? You start by committing absolute treason against your own ego. You must divorce your beliefs from your identity. The moment you turn an opinion into a pillar of who you are, you have signed your own intellectual death warrant. Treat your convictions not as sacred monoliths, but as temporary, disposable software. Beta versions waiting to be patched. When cold, hard evidence proves you wrong. You aren't losing a piece of yourself. You are merely updating a faulty algorithm. The cost of changing your mind feels heavy, but the cost of protecting a lie is absolute blindness. Learn to crave the sting of being corrected. Most people feel a wave of panic when their reality is challenged. They feel the cortisol spike, the adrenaline rush, and they reach for their armor. Flip the circuit. When you discover you were wrong, celebrate it. You just shed a delusion. You just became slightly less blind than you were 5 seconds ago. You are not the narrator inside your head. You are the observer watching the narrator scramble to cover its tracks. Once you realize that, the cage doors unlock. You no longer need to defend a false narrative. You no longer need to lie to yourself for $1 or $1 million. You simply look at the truth and let the old skin drop. The social psychologist Carol Tavris wrote a profound, unsettling truth. Cognitive dissonance is the reason why good people do bad things without ever feeling like bad people. It doesn't happen in a single, monstrous leap. It happens in microscopic steps, where each micro-justification reduces the tension just enough to make the next, darker step possible. You slowly, methodically engineer your own corruption, one sanitized excuse at a time. Recognizing this trap inside yourself is the single most urgent exercise in human consciousness. Look into the mirror tonight. Stripped of your defenses, stripped of your stories, ask yourself the only question that truly matters. Which lie did your brain tell you today? Just to keep you asleep? Stay curious. Stay human.